1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, Paul writes that every other sin is outside the body, but the one who sins sexually sins against his own body. You know, the world greatly underestimates the harm of sexual sin. What happens when we choose to have sex outside of God's design of marriage between a man and a woman? You know, the first thing that happens is it has a physical impact on us. It physically harms us. There are 20 million new cases of sexually transmitted diseases every year in America. But it's not just the harm that is physically caused. Unconfessed sin messes with us physically. Think about David. David said his bones ached because of unconfessed sin. I'm not saying he had a sexually transmitted disease. I'm just saying he suffered the consequences of unconfessed sin, because that's what sin does to us. It harms us physically, sexually, and all together. But not only is there a physical harm to sexual sin, there's an emotional price to pay with sexual sin. You might think it's a one-night stand, but it has a lifetime memory. So it's in our mind, and it affects our views toward others and ourselves when we sin sexually. But then there's the spiritual harm done in sexual sin. It hurts us in our relationship with God because it's rebellion. You know, Warren Wiersbe makes this statement about sexual sin. He kind of compares it to food. Food is necessary for us. And why sex is not necessary? Listen to what Warren Wiersbe says about obesity and sexuality. Food's good to us, but obesity will harm us. Sex outside of marriage, like food, will harm us when it goes too far. So we need to understand these issues. These are hurtful things when we decide we're going to live life and have sex on our terms other than God's terms. You don't have to experience that harm. You don't have to have that hurt. You can trust God that His way is the best way when it comes to sex. He's not taking something from us. Sex is a gift given to us by God, but it's best when it's God's way. You don't have to suffer from the consequences of harmful sexual decisions. You can enjoy sex when you trust God and pursue God first. See, sex is not our main pursuit, no matter what the world says. God is the one that gives us an identity, security, and sufficiency. Trust Him that God will be everything God says He is.